Do you want an automatic pumpkin and melon farm that is completely stackable to make it as efficient as you want it to be? Don't you go anywhere, I'm going to show you how. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to another episode from me, Avomance, in my farm tutorial series. In today's episode, we are doing a fully automatic pumpkin and melon farm that you can expand as high as you want to give you as big a yield as you want. Now, might want these things for food, but more likely, you're going to want them to trade with villagers so as you can get emeralds. So this is kind of like an emerald farm, or maybe even an enchanted book farm. Let's crack on with it. The way this system works is really very simple. Once you get a grown melon, it changes the state of the stalk on which the melon or the pumpkin has grown. The observer sees that change and creates a pulse which causes the piston to shoot that melon off or that pumpkin, which breaks it into the water stream, and it's collected at the side right here. Really simple. To make this two-tier system like I have, and you can make it taller, you need 4 chests, 2 hoppers, 80 oak logs, about half a stack of dirt, about 48 cobble, about half a stack of your structural block. I'm using stone bricks, 16 pistons or sticky pistons, 8 observers, 2 buckets of water, 16 redstone dust, 8 glowstone, a hoe, 8 lanterns, 8 pumpkin seeds and 8 melon seeds, 2 oak signs, 110 blocks of glass, about 16 vines, about a stack of oak leaves. Vines and oak leaves are for decoration, so completely optional. About 2 1/4 stacks of slabs. I've used spruce, and maybe between half and a full stack of bone meal to grow your vines quickly so you don't have to wait for the pumpkins and melons to grow. So this is the size of the footprint. That is 9 across the top. That bit sticking out on the left hand side is 7. So it's kind of like a 9 by 10 rectangle with those 2 corners cut out with 2 little jutty out bits. I've colour coded these as blocks, water, dirt, hoppers, and also chests. So theoretically, I shouldn't go wrong while I'm making it. Let's crack on. So we're going to start with this template of colour. These orange sections are for chests, so stick a double chest in there. You could probably put more than a double chest by going down if you wish. And then on the black, put in a hopper. Remember, shift click into the chest so as you don't miss anything. I'm going to trim around with these logs simply because it looks nice. So you could use any kind of block you wanted to really. And then fill in the middle with a load of cobble. You're never going to see it, so you can fill it in with whatever you want. Then once you've trimmed it off with the rest of the logs, bring in some dirt on the brown wall that I put there. That is where we're going to plant stuff up, and then put 1 bucket of water on top of the blue wall. That should run all the way to the hopper, but not over. Finish the trim round with log, and you are pretty much ready to start going upwards. Bring a central row with cobble. Again, this will not be seen, but this has to be a block that is conductive of redstone, otherwise it will not work. Next step is get 4 pistons. These do not have to be sticky pistons, even though I've used them. I just pulled them out of the inventory, and space them out so as there is a gap between each one on either side. Make sure you put them on the same place because it just looks better. Now in the middle of the far ones on each end, put some more cobble and put a observer with its little redstone bum pointing towards the middle. That way, when it does its redstone fire, it will charge the block. And we're going to put some redstone on top of that block, which will mean that no matter when the observer fires, the entire row of redstone will fire. Now, you don't have to worry about lag because it will only fire this one level, which is only 8 pistons. That is not lag inducing, even in some really small machines. So I really wouldn't worry about it. Now, we are going to till the soil. Now use the hoe, use a wooden hoe, doesn't matter, in front of every observer and granite block, but not the piston blocks, because we're going to be planting up melons and pumpkins on this. I recommend melons on one side and pumpkins on the other, and that way you get the same type of stuff going into each of the 2 chests. It just makes it more tidy, and you know, I do love my tidiness when we're doing stuff like this. Now we're going to start to build up these walls a little bit more. We're going to do this piece by piece because it's easier than putting the walls in all the way from the start. Now create a second wall, but you want to leave a gap of 2 in the middle above the very centre because we're going to light things up. Pumpkins and melons need a light level of 10 above the stalk for them to actually grow. Then stick a second level of, I'm using stone brick, but this is whatever structural block you would like, and then next to them get another row of dirt. Now what we're going to do here is replicate exactly what we've done on the lower level on an upper level. But we do need to separate the water from the redstone. So build a 3x8 platform, bring the wood up, and then we're going to dig out the 2 trenches on either side next to the dirt. And then when we build the platform on the other end, we can encase the water. Make sure you put the water at the same ends as you did before. It doesn't really matter, but for symmetry, it just looks better, and that will fill that up entirely and will be enough water for you to be able to till that soil. Again, put in those pistons with a gap between each one. That first piston in the middle is a temporary block if you want to use wool or something like that. It really doesn't matter. And then mirror it on the other side, and that way we've got exactly the same setup as we have underneath. Now get your observers. Again, redstone bum has to be facing inwards. You don't have to put one next to each piston, but if you want to, you can. It doesn't matter. I'm just using 4 rather than 8 purely because it's more economical. If you want to use 8, you absolutely can. It does actually improve the efficiency of the farm ever so slightly if you use observers instead of those cobblestone blocks. Now put another row across the top, the same as we did before, and a row down the middle. Now that row down the middle is what's going to house the redstone, so put a redstone line right across the top of that. And that redstone line will then conduct, no matter what observer sees something, that redstone line will fire all of the pistons. Again, don't worry about lag, it is only 8 pistons. Then till up the soil again using your hoe, exactly the same in front of the observers and those cobblestone blocks. Plant them up. Make sure you plant on the same side as you did before, melons on one side and pumpkins on the other. Again, build the wall up just a little bit by bit, and that way it encases everything. We're going to decorate this wall up in a minute, so don't worry about it looking like a big slab of wood. It will be better by the time we have finished. Now get yourself some glass. I prefer this to be glass. It doesn't have to be glass, but I like to be able to see what is going on. So get yourself a wall of glass all the way around and pop it over the top of the first part of that chest. It will open, don't worry, we're going to put a bit of glass down there at the bottom in a moment, but it will open because glass is a transparent block. Bring this to the height of the top of the logs that you've got there at the moment, and once you've got it to the top of those logs, we're going to put on a roof. Now I'm going to be using spruce slab, and we're going to put a bottom slab on all of that roof. That is going to mean that it is not spawnable by any mobs, and you won't get any creepers falling on your head when you walking past it, because they will be able to spawn on top if you use a solid block. Trim it around and make sure you've got an overhang every side. It just makes it look more attractive. There we go. We're just putting in the glass underneath. You can see it still opens up those chests without any problem. I'm now going to place some hanging lanterns on each corner. This is purely aesthetic really, it doesn't add much to the light. And then we're going to put in a load of bushes and also creepers along the side of this, because what I find is the vines, they're not creepers but they are creepers, aren't they? The vines on the sides and those bushes will give just a nice looking effect and takes away from that solid wood. That solid wood can be quite detracting when it comes to the build, and you want to make it look at least a little bit nice. Now you can build this up as many levels as you want. You can go up to the build limit if you want, but we are going to see what we get from 1 hour's worth of playing around with just 2 levels. The pumpkin and melon stalks have all grown up now and the chests are empty. So we are going to start a timer for an hour just to see what the hourly rate is on this 2-tier system. It has been actually 2 hours because I had to go and have some tea. So it's 2 hours and we've got in our fresh melon 3.5 stacks actually in 2 hours. That's not too bad. Bear in mind, we've only got a 2-tier system here. There is only 8 melon stalks. Now similarly, we've only got 8 pumpkin stalks, and pumpkins grow much slower. They can take between 10 and 30 minutes to actually grow. So I'd expect this to be less than a stack. And it is 54, literally 2 just went in as we did it then. 54, so just under a stack in 2 hours. So dead easy to make. These don't have to be sticky pistons, but what you can do is make it much taller. So for example, this one is 6 high. I've just duplicated and then triplicated the two platforms, so as they're just on top of each other, exactly the same, repeat, repeat, repeat. You can do this right the way up to the build limit if you wanted to. There is no limit apart from that very, very top ceiling. This will produce 3 times as many fruits as the one we just tested. So there you have it, one automatic melon and pumpkin farm, and as long as the chunk is loaded, this fella is going to pump out those fruits as much as you could possibly want them to. You don't have to reset it, it will just start working straight away as soon as you reload the chunk. Now, obviously you can make this as tall as a build limit or just have a single layer, it is entirely up to you. You will get about a half a stack of pumpkins an hour and about 3 times that many of melons. So you get plenty of fruit, and the bigger you make it, the more you're going to get. Look, there's some pumping out right there. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying it, and I will keep on making them. Also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.